You're tuning in to Gone.net.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Gone.net. This week, I couldn't hear the intro song as it was playing, and that was very weird. And I didn't like it.
Well, at least we can hear you.
That's right.
All the technical. Well, I haven't checked the live stream yet to see if it is going through. Okay, good. We're good. So we didn't have any technical difficulties so far, other than John didn't hear
I
the
was
song.
going to say, don't.
But that's
it.
that's a good warm up because I do my little dance.
Yeah,
it's
no,
a very
it
catchy
felt
song.
it felt very weird not to hear it. That's what I'm saying. I need to continue iterating on my replacement streaming system.
Yeah, every time
day.
John gets a hate on for software, which we've had a fair bit of issues with this one. I'm not going to use names because they might kick us off midstream. You never know. I mean, software wise, it's exactly what we needed.
Yeah,
but it just seems like there's always something stupid going on with it. And when you press the end stream button, it doesn't really end the stream. Sometimes we're like, can I swear yet? Oh, I mean, not that that's ever stops me because I usually drop something, but you know what I mean?
You think when you hit the button, it should just do what it's supposed to do though, right? Like I always also hate and I know there's a growing contingent of people, or maybe we've given up caring again, of like web app stuff. Like I'd rather have a native app for a lot of things. And this one feels kind of like a good space for a native app to use, I don't know.
Well, maybe. I mean, WebRTC is pretty hard in the world we work in.
Yeah, no, I
so
mean
many
more like
handcuffs.
still WebRTC is going to be like a backplane of it or something, but it's the idea of like you're routing all of the like video, audio capturing and everything through a browser now.
Yeah.
And that doesn't, I don't know. It's probably fine. Maybe it's even better. It just doesn't feel right.
And that's fair, right? This is
I don't like it.
So John is trying to vibe something up. I don't really get into that area because I don't know enough about it. Like the video streaming. It's not really
done stuff with that over many years ago. I understand a bit of it. I actually have something that technically kind of works. I haven't tested it like end to end in terms of it going out over like YouTube live streams.
Okay.
But it's at the point where I've had it like do a session where there's multiple, participants like this. You could share your desktop on the feed and it would record the composition of it back out, and it worked. It was pretty cool.
Well, we
maybe
will
one day
definitely try when you're ready.
Well, the problem is like now with AI, it's just too easy to go bounce from idea to idea and get far enough that you're like, I'm kind of satisfied now. I don't know if I want to take it to, end to end full production, or I guess maybe the problem is more, you kind of have to pick and choose. Like you can't do 100 things all as shipping products, right? Like it's just not sustainable.
I mean, probably not.
Okay, maybe not 100, maybe not 1,000 though.
Well, we'll talk about kind of some of the things I've been doing because I think what happens with a lot of people right now and why they're getting into slop is that, the thing that I've found is that people aren't, this is going to sound bad. Nobody throws stuff at me. A lot of engineers that I've worked with over the past aren't really good at compartmentalizing specific needs.
Yeah.
Like they want to build, so they start a new app like a greenfield and they build the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously with what I'm going to show today and you're kind of thinking is, I'm building everything right now, but I'm compartmentalizing them into areas that I can take those Legos now. And so I've spent a lot of AI time and a lot of my time kind of fixing and tuning the API surfaces and stuff. Mm-hmm. But I have very compartmentalized Lego pieces that I can just take from my pile and go plug, 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 plug. And then all I'm doing is worrying about the idea.
Yeah. No, I think that scales okay because it is very much driven by like, here's a piece I need now. I get it to where I need it to be, and then maybe I'm happy, but then down the road, maybe I need to change stuff for a different way that I need to use it, right?
Yes.
That kind of makes sense. I think it's more the like, the problem I have is I get into the like, here's this whole like product, right? Like this, it could be like a service, it could be a product, it could be whatever. And it's like, I would love to go and like turn this thing into a real thing.
Yes.
But I would like to do that with like 10 different things at once, and it just doesn't work.
Which, no, and you've got like, because I'm in a different kind of thing where I can still kind of do that, which I have been, right? I've got about 5 apps that are just like right literally in the core of testing before I actually start pushing them on the store. And I've got, aside from one of them, because it deals with school boards, they're ready to go. Yeah, don't work with school boards, especially in Canada. Oh my God.
I used to work.
I used to work for a school board.
So I get it.
So yeah, it's been great because you can really, like, I've got the pieces. I know how the pieces work, and then I can go bing, 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 bing. And I've been putting them all together. And these are a lot of the apps I'm doing are areas where I've either worked in or I've had interest in over the years. Yep. So it's been fantastic.
Enough. Yeah. Well, and that's just it, right? It's like, it's the same at any level. Like it's the same of what I end up doing. Like the one that I'm working on now, if you have enough experience, like we talk about this all the time, like that's how you leverage AI to do impressive things, right? Because what the symphony should look like and should be playing. And you just have to be the one to coordinate and orchestrate it together, right? And
arguably in a lot of cases, that's more fun for me now, right?
Oh, I agree. Yeah.
It's I mean, I can do the architecture and I am doing the architecture. What I don't want to be doing is going into the weeds. Like, so take health, for example. So I have a health library that plugs into Apple Health and Google Fit or what is it called now? Google, whatever. They changed their name periodically on that. So like I knew exactly the API services that both supported, and I kind of know more or less what I want out of it. But then it was like, what do these guys share in terms of like more or less values? And if I have to do like any unit conversion or whatever, you go figure that out. Here's the like major metrics I need. I want to be able to read and write and maybe even stream. So like a heartbeat, and that's it. And then align all of the powers that be between Android and iOS. And do it. And lo and behold, because I've had the API for years, but it's a lot of work to go and test it and to figure out all the bibs and bobs. And then Apple changes it. And God knows Android's been a pain in the ass with Google Fit, right? It just goes and does it. But it gave me the API surface that I've had planned for years, or that I've had for years, even fix some bugs I had. And lo and behold, now we're running. It's just off and running. Yeah. So that's the power of it, right? It used to be like we were spending hours reading documentation and having to fiddle. And now it's just like this thing knows what it needs to go find. You know what you need it to do. You can read the surface level document. Yeah, it's going to do what I need it to do.
Yep.
Figure it out. Just plug in the values. That's it.
Yeah.
And that's been going great. So yeah, you just got to focus on it. But you're pretty good at finishing products. Like you get them. I mean, sure, but we kind of bib and bob, but you know what? It is functioning. Like I'm using it ongoing. Active.
And it's one of the things that I think for me, when I start something like that, if it becomes something that is actually reasonably used, popular, whatever, I have an easier time coming back to kind of keep improving on it over time. It's not going to be something that I go, every day or once a week even, or something to go look at necessarily, but it is something that I'll be like, okay, it's been a while. I should go check it out again, see what's going on, what's up with it, make sure that it's working. Maybe there's new features since and that kind of thing.
John used to give me shit because he's like, my God, you have the longest beta cycles ever. So Shiny, I used to leave because there was ideas and changing of APIs and it was never quite what I wanted. So I was like, I'm just going to leave it in the longest beta because people bitch at me when I change stuff, even though it's mine.
Yeah.
So if I leave it in beta and I go, until this is ready and it's done, like I usually put the betas in 2 or 3 apps and then I'm like, okay, it's solid. It's exactly what I need. And I release it. So that's what I've been doing over the years, but that's what you're doing now.
But I almost go the opposite at this point because like I'm just, nobody uses stuff when it's beta. Hardly, it seems like. So just keep going.
They do.
They do. It's not quite the same. I mean, we have this kind of it's almost like a running joke at this point. Although it hasn't been a problem so much lately, where people are like, "Hey, if I'm gonna go use this thing, I'm not allowed to use like a preview of it because my company has some policy, right?" And it's just like, okay, what if we took that preview thing off of it and called it not a preview at this point? Oh, sure, then I can use it. It's like, okay, maybe go talk to your company, because if it's just us literally being like, gone preview, like that's the only difference. Like we're not gonna do any different quality on this particular issue or something like that, right? And I don't mean that for like Net 11 or anything like those kind of things are previews, but we would do it with MAUI, where we would be like, here's a pre-release of the upcoming service release, so that people can go try it out and give us feedback before we make you go to it with like the workload bump, right? So we would the thing was always, you'd get a new workload version to get the new release out, and then if you break somebody there, it's much harder to go back to an older version of that. So we started doing, well, let's put out NuGet packages that are previews, and nobody would use them for that reason. So then we just started saying, like, let's call them stable versions, and we'll just keep iterating forward, because then people use them. But if something breaks, it's just a NuGet, to go back to instead of the whole thing. So,
Well, and the thing too, kind of just so people are aware, one of the things you love about Jon and hate about him at the same time is that he will find. So last night I was like, check out this control that I'm just finishing. The dude goes and finds a 1 pixel border. And he's like, it's 2 pixel here. It's driving me nuts.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I get it. But like,
you did it for a second time. Like, this isn't the first pixel incident that we've had with your stuff.
No,
I thought you would have learned.
Jon is a perfectionist. Like if you got him doing QA, he will never release.
Yeah, no, this is a challenge.
And then I told him
my own stuff.
So I need a party hat, because today we're talking about. So I released my control package as stable. Now there are some ends where I want to, like, Mac OS is there for AppKit. The controls do support AppKit, but there's some between Linux and, because MAUI has Linux and Mac OS, and while Jon won't say they're released, they actually are pretty damn close to a release quality.
Yeah, they're not
there's some rough edges. Yeah. I am using them. They are working.
I mean, we're using them for sure, but too, right? Like,
right. And I'd say the rough edges are few and far between, but when you hit them, you hit them.
Yeah.
Right. But you can almost always get around them. There's some weird shit with main thread, and I think file system is another kind of weird one. There's still some little glitches. Yeah. Mac OS, like AppKit, has some weird rendering things for me, but for the most part, all of that stuff is there. But what I decided to, because otherwise I'm never going to release it. So I don't release for a different reason, because I just keep adding stuff. So we'll talk about controls in a minute, but I must have added, like, there must be, I don't know, there's a lot of controls. There's a lot, and I just kept adding them. And a lot of them are stuff I've used. One of them is something I've wanted to have forever, and now I do. But at this, I never would have released. Now I did go for quality, because Jon's been on me. He's like, there's a little line above the chat thing. So I fixed that. Don't worry, that the line is gone.
Good. The chat
it's good at scrolling to the
line on the other thing too.
The borders are also fixed. Yes. Okay. Which mostly, I think there's still a little, because Jon looks at it from a perfection, and it's like, that would only happen if you were in this mode. It's still sample. So we'll go through it. Maybe he'll, crack his whip on me or something, but that's fine. So my thing was, I decided to put them into release because they're pretty good. I'm using them in a whole whack of apps now. And off to the races. And as stuff comes in, I'll patch it. I'm pretty good at getting on the bugs right away and just shipping a new NuGet, because I have nothing in front of me. Like, I don't have any, we won't talk about Microsoft security stuff. I don't have any red tape in front of me. So I can do whatever I can release in 30 seconds if I want to. And it's just going to happen. So I don't have any problems at this point. Just like, let's ship it. People are using it, because there's already a ton of downloads on these things.
Yeah.
But I'll just fix stuff as it comes up and as people are using it. And people are pretty good at contributing now with AI. And then you can be like, yeah, it's good. That's good. Let's go with that. So
yeah,
here is where we are. So I'm going to share my screen today. because we have lots of things to show. Hopefully, lots of things to show. All right. And hopefully we get no crashes or anything, or my computer doesn't go to sleep and all that good stuff. Let's do... Nope.
Ta-da.
Ta-da. Well, I'll show the browser first. What did I do with my... So the first thing... Well, I'm not going to show off music because we already have music. But Shiny is a big, big, monstrous beast of a library now. That's what many libraries. But this week, where am I going here? Let's go to devices, sensors.
You almost need to like start inventing some like sub names.
Yeah, I know it's gotten
because like Shiny is almost too like there's just too much stuff. Like I even know sometimes now what I'm looking for on your docs, and I have to like find it still.
It's getting a little unruly, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, like the thing that I was looking for was like I think it's under devices and sensors because you have all the audio stuff now, right?
Yep.
But then I was getting that confused with I think some of the like the voice recognition parts.
AI conversation.
Yeah.
I'll have to figure out, like I've also been thinking about going to like a mono repo to kind of centralize some of the stuff, but one thing at a time.
Also,
what?
Your stuff's not going to work today because David's watching. So just for the heads up.
Oh no! How do you know he's watching? Oh, he's in the chat.
He's in there.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
Yeah. See, I like shiny gloss, shiny matte. You have to
shiny
think
dill.
of or more
shiny
planets.
doll.
I don't know.
Shiny doll. Yeah, shiny dill sounds weird, but shiny doll. I'm not dull though. I make stuff
Are
fun.
you dill?
I do like dill pickles, but maybe I'm dumb sometimes. I don't know. Anyhow, so something I've had for a little while, and I've been using a web server called Embed.io. So there's some niche cases where you want to use a web server on a mobile app. So I've wanted this for years. There's like an HTTP context thing out of the box with .NET. It's awful. I think it's just like ancient.
And
it's
basic,
like
yeah,
it does your core stuff, but it's really old. I don't think it's been upgraded for a while.
No.
Well,
so even with like DevFlow, one of the things that if you go look at the code, and it's as early on when I had AI writing it, I was like, because it was doing like WebSockets and stuff, and I'm like, how are you doing that? And it's like it wrote its own, like socket protocol stuff. So like that's not that fun to keep up. I'm sure like this thing must have its own implementation.
Yes,
of that, right?
So I basically the problem is that ASP.NET is such a fat beast. Like I don't think people realize how monstrous the thing is. Like even trimmed, if you're using something like SignalR or whatever, it's big. It pulls in like the world.
Yeah, it's pretty heavy.
And now it's designed for big features, big servers. John is noticing in his app that it tends to use a lot of memory. Now it's good at reserving memory because it's designed for heat, for lots of traffic. I needed something that I could run on the edge.
Well, and that's the difference, right? Like that thing is designed for servers.
Right.
We don't have a server in our pocket. I mean, it's pretty good, but it's not that.
But for what I plan on using it for, which is irrelevant, it's perfect. But so I've been using something called Embed.io for a couple of years. It's pretty good, but I think they're done kind of working on it. So it's kind of, I don't want to say stale. It's not fair because it's open source and it's free. It's just they're not moving it forward. Mm-hmm. I wanted some richer APIs. I wanted some richer middleware. And so I've had a little functioning web server, but of course with AI, you can, it'll try and be like, hey, let's do this in phases. And you're like, no, bud, there's no phases. Here's all the stuff I want. I don't care if you take 10 hours, which it did. It took about 8 hours to build every single thing I asked for. But this will run. It's an AOT web server. It looks and behaves a lot like ASP.NET. Let's see. So, you've got your normal tiers, you've got your gets, you've got your middleware, and you've even got controllers, right? There's also this, I guess technically the map gets looks like, what do they call those? Minimal APIs. So the goal was to have these endpoints that look like ASP.NET. Unfortunately, they can't be ASP.NET because there's a lot of things going on there, but it's close. And like I said, this will run on MAUI. It'll serve up HTTP context. It'll serve up static files, Blazor, WebAssembly. So it's good for like if you've got like a game that you want to play, for instance, in your house, but you don't, and you want to have people connecting to it, but you don't want to set up like a web server to run it, right? So this could be like a host, and everybody's like bouncing APIs or connecting through WebSockets. It's got auth, it's got routing, it's got JSON, XML. I don't know if you want XML.
Might need it.
So it's got an MCP connection. And kind of one of the cool things, now this is a niche that I need for another project, is tunneling. And the thing, I mean, especially with us in Canada, I think the US is much more open and free about this stuff. But have you ever tried to run a web server on the cellular network in Canada?
I mean,
for fun?
I know you have. I wouldn't have because I believe, I think once upon a time I tried something like that, and it's like, yeah, no, there's no way.
So it turns out there is. And what the problem is basically, even if you get an IP address, right? Like if you're able to get your remote IP address and you try to connect to it, usually your provider blocks it at some point, or your phone does.
Yeah.
But when you tunnel, it's your phone going out and saying, it's basically treating it as though it's connecting to an endpoint, like an SSH tunnel. You can get a DNS, like a gross one. It doesn't have to be good, but like ngrok, if you've ever used that.
Yep.
You can get a DNS and it'll forward the traffic to your phone. And this was a big one because, again, you want to play a game, maybe outside with your friends. You can go through cellular towers now, and it knows how to route.
Can you not use? Have you looked at using like stun at all to do like? Okay. Yep.
It's actually in the list of providers, but this was, and there is Azure Relay, but that's not AOT. Come on, Microsoft. Let's get with it. It's actually quite easy to make your own tunnels as well, if you want to. It's just SSH forwarding and stuff. So all these things. This was a big delivery for me. This was something I liked. And then I started adding like all the web dev, response compression, WebSocket, server sent events. Like I just AI is like, you want to build this into phases. There's no phases, bud. Do it all.
Think about it however you want to, but you're going to do the work anyway. So.
You can try and save some money because you're on my plan, but no, this isn't happening.
Want me to do this next for you? Of course. Why would I stop?
Why did you stop? Or even if you try and put it in a loop, it still tries to break out of it sometimes.
It does all the time. Like I have the latest thing that I've been trying with this other project is I have it coordinating as like managing a tasks document itself.
Yep.
So I got to the point where I'm like, I don't want to be the one that has to like write the tasks and stuff in there. I want you to manage that by me talking to you. And then it's like, okay, we have 5 slots that we can, queue a task into at any given time. We can make that bigger or smaller, whatever. And then it'd be like, no, remember, like always, if there's queued tasks and there's open slots, like go do them, go queue them, go put them in the slots and work on them. And it would for a bit. And then after a while, it'd be like, oh, well, we got, all our slots are free and we got 8 tasks queued. What would you like to do? It's like, come on. It'll always resist.
So I'm going to see actually if this guy is going to, of course I'm using Reflector. Mm-hmm. We'll see if anybody wants to, David could bomb my phone while he's here. So this is out in the wild. It is tunneled. I can break it off onto the cellular network. Right now it's on Wi-Fi, but it allows you to go and connect. It's got basic authentication. I keep using my mouse, even though I got to use the phone. So this thing actually works. You log in, admin with basic auth. And it's got web dev, even though you're locked to kind of your app data directory. You can see traffic if anybody starts to do anything, but this thing is fantastic because it's doing exactly what I need. And I think David did a presentation recently about build what you need. This thing, okay, yes, I built a lot more than what I need, but it's there. Like it's just there and it just works.
One, like I can't often think of like a scenario where I would want to do this. But one thing I've seen that I kind of like is, when you get an app where it will, if you need to get like content to it, like an Apple TV is a good example of that, because it's just a pain to work with. And so you could be like, okay, here's a web server to go hit, and then you can upload files and I'll save them to the right place for you or whatever. And then you can access them from the app later. Like that kind of thing is nice with this.
I mean, my usage, because I do a lot of Bluetooth stuff. The issue with Bluetooth is often range. So like if, again, you want to play a game in your house with your kids and the phone, right? You either need to have a web server out, and SignalR or running something on Azure, it costs us money. With this, it's just like I can start up a web server, even if it's just local, right? And then the next part that I've done, now this has existed for a few years. I didn't invent this. I've just kind of started it going again. Let me see if I can find it now. As John said, I can't even find my own stuff anymore. Exactly. Let's go platform data. Where did I have it, John? Where did I have it? Core infrastructure. It's got to be in here somewhere.
I don't know which one you're looking for.
Discovery.
Oh, like mDNS stuff?
Yeah, mDNS stuff.
Is it device and sensors?
That's a good question.
Don't you have a search on there?
I do. I think my keyboard is hijacked or something, though. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. My keyboard has decided to cop out on that. I don't know what's going on there. Let's see. I'll find it. You think I would have had it bookmarked, but
I was trying to find it here. I can't even find it by searching mDNS in your so.
Did it pull it out? What the hell?
Oh, network discovery. I found
network discovery.
It's app essentials.
App essentials. That makes sense. There we go. So if you have a web server, further to that is, so if I put this on my local network, it's how do I discover it, right? Do I got to give everybody this phone number to dial, or can it just find my device on the server? So we might broadcast something like, this is a game. This is Allan's game. This is a shiny game, right? And I can publish it out to say, here it is. Here's kind of like the namespace or discovery, and here's the port where you can find it. So this was kind of like part and parcel with the web server, is now I can advertise it. Then people can, on the client app, we can say, go browse for that thing. And if you find it, display it and go, here's Allan's game, tap on it, open it, connect to it, do the things. So it's really a good way. Like I said, no web server, not everybody's running Docker in their house like we are. This is exactly what I needed for a couple projects that I'm doing. And yeah, like I said, I got greedy.
Is that all? And that's all like 100% managed code for all those protocols?
Yeah, except for mDNS on Android and iOS. There's some special, but they work one-to-one. But SSDP and UPnP, they're right out of the box, fully native code, or sorry, full .NET code.
Do you have something mDNS on, like, does that work on Linux too? I'm selfishly asking, of course, because I am using, I don't even know what it's using in my code right now to do the things, but
it's not hard to get. So it's this.
And of course, there's like 3 different ways of doing this kind of stuff too, right? Which is stupid, but that's where we live. It's the world. To be fair,
there is a library that's been doing mDNS and Bonjour. That's Apple's name for mDNS. Bonjour. He's been doing it forever. There's a library there that's been maintained forever, but it hasn't released in a while. I kind of wanted async enumerable because it was observables, and God knows every time I put RX in, John's like relentlessly complaining at me. Even though 7.0, they trimmed all the fat, dude. One day we'll get you in there. It's all right. But anyhow, There's no RX. I promised John that if he said the only way he would use the library is if it had no RX. So I only have it in one library left, and that's Bluetooth, which is not going anywhere there. So we've got network discovery that works. It's a modern library. I'm maintaining it because I'm using it. We've got an HTTP server that's lightweight but still feature rich, and both work in MAUI like perfection, and like Linux and Mac OS App Kit. So very happy, very nice. And John can't find bugs because
I haven't. I'm not using it yet. So
no, that's true. But he's looking. He's looking. He's going to do a much better job in a second, because one of the things I finally did release, and this is what we were talking about with the long betas. Let me go ahead and hide this. This is the monster that is controls. So I've been working on this for MAUI and Blazor for, I don't know, a lot of the controls I've had for a few years. And I finally just was like, AI can document these, so nobody can give me crap. And I can just kind of put them all in and start adding all of the stuff I've ever wanted. And, you were talking about nobody uses them unless it's a release. I published this today. So this is 1.0 went out today. And now I am using them, but I am not in the 9.3 thousand, the 9.3K downloads. So, or I didn't do 9.3K worth of downloads. So people are using this. There's a lot of controls.
Yeah. I'm always like curious anymore too, with downloads and stuff like NuGet. And I don't know the actual answer if like the NuGet org site and API does anything these days to like deal with AI, scraping and stuff like that. But I know like we've talked about it too, and like some of the patterns you see are not necessarily AI looking anyway, which is
right.
Cool.
So this one's pretty active, like Document DB. Mm-hmm. The difference is that I went kind of crazy with this guy. I can't possibly talk about all the controls, so I'll only highlight a few of them. Just to go quickly is the camera. And again, the community toolkit's been there forever. And there's been like a bajillion camera libraries, and they're fantastic. If you're using them, great. I had a niche case where I was like, I really need to do frame analysis, right? So everybody keeps building barcode libraries. Yeah. And that's fine. That's fantastic. Specialized, doing the thing that you need. What I wanted is if I can get a frame, I can start doing things like face detection. I can start, and then even putting the bounding box, like I see your face, there it is, right? I can do motion detection, which, there's reasons I want to do that. I can do barcode scanning, right? That's a dime a dozen nowadays. John's done it. You had the original library, right? You had Zebra Crossing. Did you do the original Zebra Crossing? So I want to be clear because I don't want to steal credit. The actual the pixel analysis part of Zebra Crossing, that was some other person that made this crazy cool thing. Well, the Zebra Crossing. All I did was stitch it together with Xamarin Forms and Xamarin and stuff, right? It still worked, man.
And that had to do like the camera views and all that kind of fun stuff too. But
so you were essentially giving it a frame, letting it analyze, and then going, there's some barcodes.
Yep.
So this does the same thing, except that the frame analyzer is more open, right? I can get. And
so
go ahead.
When I did the MAUI version finally of the Zebra Crossing thing, somewhat reluctantly, that was the approach that I had started taking too. Like I didn't really expose the whole crazy. I think you could get a frame. You didn't have to use it for barcode scanning. Like that was always the idea.
Yep.
But in implementation, it's just like, it's not hard. Like I want to make sure I say this reasonably well. It's not hard in a sense to do the work to make that a thing. But back in the day, like that would have been a lot. It was a lot of time to try and think about anything on top of that, right? And then even just to get like because like Android had their camera APIs and they were still kind of moving things around at the time too. And then you have to do it differently on the other platforms. And like and then you want to make it all like a nice, tidy cross-platform API, tie it all together, make it work the same. And like, it's all doable then. It's just a lot of time and effort. And now it's just like AI can do that, the grunt work of it. Like, and again, it comes down to like, I want to make a barcode scanner, but I want to do other things too. And if you set it up this way, and so that, you have frames and you build on top of that, and like the way that you architect and segment it out, that's the value that then arrives at, okay, AI can just go do the work of figuring out, one, how to use like the Android APIs to do it, two, all the gotchas, because it's already trained on like open source projects from years ago that figured out little quirks about the Android camera APIs, and lets you deal with it it's incredible. Like, because that's what you get out of it, right? Like, you built this thing that now is like super useful in so many ways because you knew how to put it together, but you didn't have to do the heavy, not heavy lifting. You didn't have to do the easy part, but the tedious part.
So, but the camera view, so the frames come out anyways, right?
Yep.
So, and then the barcode analyzer is now, it's built on board anyways. Like Android's got their barcode ML based library. iOS has had their barcode analyzer built in for years. So it falls back onto those. And then for everybody else, it's kind of using just a basic AI version. This again works on the .NET Labs, right? So the .NET Labs, Linux and Mac OS. It also works on, I don't know that this is going to work because my camera's already in use, but let's see what the heck it does.
Can you stack in the camera view multiple different things on your control too? Is that how it's set up?
Yes.
Oh.
So it's not going to, I don't think it's going to work. If I disconnect, by the way, oh my God, it is working.
Shares.
So this does work. Let's see if it does comic. I don't know if that shows in here.
Oh yeah, you can tell.
Sketch. Hello.
Yeah, that's
right?
sketchy, all right.
Oh, come on. It's awesome. Posture. I don't even know what posterize is. But this one's my favorite. Pixelation. Let's go, 1980s. Let's go.
See, it is you. It is your stream.
And then blur, because, you don't really need to see my face anyways, right? So let's hide that guy. It'll do the detection boxes. It'll do, if you want colors, mono and tonal. Chrome. This is just making me look like a red Santa Claus. This makes me look more, right? So it's just awesome. You can put barcode scanning. You can restrict the area because, again, if you're analyzing the full frame, it's hard. So now it's like
that was another thing that was like, it's all those like things that you want and how they would work and everything. But years ago, it was hours in the day.
And so this works obviously on this. This is actually the Blazor version. So it's not quite as rich. You can't quite do as much on Blazor as you can with MAUI. This is kind of John's point is like, hey, I want to be able to do all the stuff, right?
It's almost a shame that, don't really look at the code as much or write the code as much, I guess, as we used to. Because like the fact that you can just have like a camera view element and then like start stacking in other pieces in there is just like really, really quite elegant in terms of code, right?
Right. Let's see if I can't go. And so now this is I'm putting my phone out. I don't want scan documents. I don't want pinch to zoom. Oh, where's the detector? Let's see if it recognizes my fat face. See, I've got all these detection types: receipt, invoice, business card, health card, driver's license, credit card, passport.
Is that all like Onyx models or something? Or like how are you?
So motion is pretty easy. You just compare frames over time. Barcode is built in. Face is built in. That's also a library from Android and iOS.
Yep.
Invoice and receipt, that's where things start. This is more OCR driven. Okay. There is a way to plug in an AI agent, which is better. If you're going to use OCR, you're going to get the very basic, like you need to get a good picture.
Yeah.
AI
If you have
will
an
do a
app
better
that's
job.
like really driven by like you need to scan, some kind of card.
Face. See, it knows I'm a face.
Yeah, if you have that kind of app that like I need to scan health cards reliably, you probably want to dig a bit deeper. But
right, but like this is also the bounding box works. It's drawing in real time, so you can do all these cool things. I'm doing this actually with license plates in a different app, but that is kind of some of the cool stuff that's going on. I'm going to hide this again. So that's camera. I think that this is one of the big guys because it's got so like I went feature crazy on it. I didn't need effects and filters. This was more because my kids were like, "Can you make it do funny things like I don't know, Facebook Messenger does all that stupid stuff?" Yes, you can. It's actually quite easy. Once you highlight the face, you can go replace it with this weird stuff. So very easy to do. I might actually put out a sample for that, but it runs. It's very easy to replace your face with stupid things. Make yourself look like a clown if you want. Why you'd want to. So I've got a media element. I did that just because I wanted my own. It's actually quite a small API once you've got it going. There's screenshots and stuff, seeing all the stuff. Again, this is in a Community Toolkit. If you're happy with Community Toolkit, there's no reason to switch to this one. Stay where you're happy. Camera view, arguably, I've got a few more features. But if you don't need it, you don't need it. One of my favorites that I've been using this for everything is chat. Now, I've been constantly upgrading this and dealing with. So this is the line that John hates. Let's actually go. Hates. Yeah, you've been on me
because you had it in a spot that didn't make sense.
Fair. So here is a more cleaner sample. Okay. This is in Blazor. It looks pretty much pound for pound the same in MAUI. So here's some of it just showing the sample. This has been great because every app basically has chat now. And if you're not chatting with people because you're antisocial, then you're chatting with an AI bot. So this has been a godsend to plug AI chats into. The API is going to be a bit different in terms of what you're used to working with in MAUI and even Blazor, because it turns out there's so much binding for this that it was crazy trying to make this work for like in an MVVM style app. It was impossible. It was impossible. So this ended up being like an interface that you kind of plug in, a chat session provider. And that tells you have to implement these things, and we'll let the control decide how it's going to work with those methods, as opposed to you trying to go, oh, I need to bind this.
So
I need to bind this.
What does the provider look like? Like I think the one thing I'm really curious about is how deep of customization are you able to do with a lot of this?
So quite a bit. It has, the chat session that's up and live that you're working with. The current user identifier that you need to work with. It's got kind of getting the messages between a certain message ID and the last message ID, because you're going up and down the list constantly, right? So it's kind of like moving how do we say it? Just a window of data. It's got the ability to send messages, resend messages because sometimes they don't send. Edit a message if you're allowing that, right? So you don't even have to implement this. You could throw an exception, or disable it in the control itself. There's things like marking as read, reacting to messages. Like it's actually, chat interfaces are flipping hard. They're hard.
There's a lot going on with them.
This is why it simply had to become. It couldn't be commands and bindings. It had to be an interface. So, and then the control's good at managing its own state, because again, that's hard. So this is why we ended up with this. This control is awesome. It's a big guy. It's, you need to do a lot of stuff to get it going. But once you do, I mean, it's I don't know. I think it's kind of pretty.
And you have message templates. Like how does that all work out?
Yep. You can end up changing pretty much anything. I tried to go for the world, like avatars, names, data templates for almost everything. I may at some point just end up saying, you know what, this takes Markdown. Don't bother implementing your own, but it's there. It takes images.
Yeah, like what? So one of the things that I have been encountering with my AI stuff in the Remaestro is when I want to ask like the user a question or something, you know, I want to have like a nice interface to do it, right? So, which device did you want to turn on? You didn't specify, right? And then do like a multiple choice, you know, either a multi-choice or a single, you know, pick from a list kind of stuff. Like, so that's the next feature I want.
Oh, see, this is my sample here. My keyboard is busted for some reason. I can't key. I could do that. I could do the actual type in the keyboard, but I'm not going to bother. That sucks. I wonder why my keyboard's dead. What did I do, John? What did I do? My mouse isn't dead.
Yeah, that's weird.
I wanted to type something. Copy and paste is working, but anyhow. So yeah, the chat interface, this is great. I'm using this in places. There's still little things that I'm probably going to change and implement over time, but for now, it is fantastic. It's got all the typing, you know, toggle typing, markdown bars. Go back to the screenshot. So like, I guess this isn't a good example, probably more from the app. Okay, now this isn't showing. Come on now. Oh, I forgot I could use my phone. Where were we here? Chat. There we go. That's why it's not working, because I got to type here. See? And then Bob Smith goes and replies. Nice one.
But you still got the line. But, you
know, yeah, this is an old version on my phone. That's why.
Okay. Well, and I know the keyboard, that done accessory thing, that's a MAUI. Actually, I had I think it got merged. I think I had a PR fixing that in Net 11.
So what else is there? What else did I want to show? A bunch of things still. The coolest one, actually, I'll save for last. It's got some desktop stuff. So if you're using Windows and Linux and Mac OS and you want a tray icon, we've got that. We've got docking. Let's see if I can show that. It's best in Blazor here. Docking. So this is like your Visual Studio interface.
Yeah. This
is okay. I didn't need a rich UI for this, but it's got all the stuff and it works. So if you need like desktop controls, there are some of those in here that works in Blazor. Signatures, you know, bottom sheets.
It's funny how like simplistic a signature pad feels now, where when Xamarin was very young, that was like one of our like, I don't know, like really cool controls that we had in the component store. And it was like, we have a signature control. And it was, you know, it took some effort to write, and it was a big deal. And that actually at some point that was like a paid for control, I think even.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Oh, back in the, what was it? Xamarin.
It was the Xamarin component store.
Yeah, that's right. The other one that this will be the last one I show before the kind of the finale here is an agenda. John and I have both been doing these because it turns out these are actually quite hard.
Yeah. So mine's a very specific kind of niche version of an agenda, but
right. So this ended up also having just like what we were just talking about, just like my chat view. This one also had to have a special interface to interop with it because agendas, another freaking hard thing. Can I move this data? Can I resize this data? You know, there's a line that says, hey, what time it is, dates, ranges that we're showing. Like the calendars are actually freaking crazy, man. I get why some of the big control vendors charge a fortune for these things, because this is a beast. So it has its own interface as well. It's all documented. God knows where. If I can go through and find it here. No. There it is. Getting started. And it'll have kind of all of the things that you can do with the screenshots. And then there's this iScheduler event provider that's got these big, massive kind of interface to work with. So another big one.
Those things get hard because like there's all just, even if you think about the different like sizing of text and when it overflows and when a bubble has to, overflow, like there's just so much to consider in those.
This is where MVVM begins to break down when there's just too much stuff. Yeah. That's when you need to go back to an interface. Now, it does show the kind of making your own event provider, but probably what you're more or less doing here, don't DI this directly. You just implement your view model as it and say bind the view model, and it'll go, oh, okay, I know what that is. I'll do. So it's still you can still make it in your view model with all the standard dependency injection. It's right there. So it seems more complicated than it is. It's actually still pretty easy. Okay, the last, I just wanted to show this because I've been bugging John for this forever. A table view. Make table views great again. I've been bugging for that for years. There it is. Just table view controls. This isn't anything that big, but this is the one I wanted to show. This to me is the coolest thing. I saw these icons. They are called, I called them motion icons. I don't actually know what they're called. So I will show a full example of this. But one of the things that I saw a guy on LinkedIn, he's been complaining about this forever. And I was like, I know what keyframes are. I don't, because you use them in the web. And it turns out that MAUI doesn't really have keyframes. I mean, you can do it, but it's not easy. Like you end up doing the async methods in kind of a chain, but it's not very good for planning like a time scale. It's a bit
like animation. The API, you can say like, here's a time call back every so much, during that time span, but it's not quite this.
Yeah. So this is a good way of saying, how long is this going to run? How many iterations is it going to go through? The direction, the fill. Then you can set things like scale and background color at the same time. So it kind of, it's very good at timing things up, more like Macromedia Flash. That's the best one, right? It had this associated time frame when things would happen.
If David is still watching, this is his area. He did so much stuff in Flash back in the day.
Oh yeah, it's showing age, right?
Yeah.
I got to watch though. I'm mid 40s, so. But David is older than both of us. He's a grandpa too, so. So we've got this keyframe stuff. Again, I implemented this because I saw somebody complaining. I was like, I think I know what I could do with keyframes. And this is where it got cool because I wanted these little motion icons. And I didn't realize how much, like I'm not a designer. I just want to take an icon and go with it.
So like, are they vectors that you're using? Are they like font glyphs?
No, they're basically just
or is
drawn.
It like, because Lottie and that kind of stuff is a whole kind of version of this too, right?
Right. And in fact, this is going to, and I might even bring it in so it can render Lottie. And what's the other one? What's the other cool one?
I forget the name of it now.
Yeah. So this ideally is probably what it uses under the hood anyways, is because there's two native versions. So Apple has a really good keyframe set already. Mm-hmm. And Android's, with all things Android, it's kind of got like a half-assed one. So this and web already has had keyframes in CSS for quite some time. So I'm pretty sure under the hood, that's just what Lottie and stuff is using.
That's it.
Rive. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you, David.
Oh, there we go. He is listening. So basically, I wanted these little motion icons to just happen in like a loop. So user, look here, you got to be paying attention, or just hovering effects, right? So it just launches the keyframe. What's working here, I will show in iOS and Android. It works identically. Like it's pretty easy. Keyframes, this one happens on appear, so that's already gone through. It was stop busy state, play busy state, hovers, right?
Oh, yeah.
So it looks, I think this looks awesome.
Oh yeah,
right?
It looks great. Yeah.
And then I told AI, we'll build a bunch of them. like for standard icons, and look at these.
So it came up with all the icons itself.
I don't think it did, because a lot of these I've seen.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
but
I mean,
I was like,
yeah. This is where it's just funny, because it's where you get into the whole like, who owns the content kind of thing. Like, well, I made
icons
them.
Yes, you're right. But like these icons are pretty standard, right?
No, they are. But like, yeah, if you wanted to go like use a set of icons that are not free or something, and if this scraped stuff and is like replicating them, it's just kind of a murky thing. But anyway.
But here we are.
But I find the funniest part is when AI like tries to make an icon for something and it draws like a really bad version of it. I had that in my mobile canvas plugin at first. It had like some icons it made, and I'm like, that looks terrible. Like, it doesn't look like what you're going for. Do a better job. But these all look nice.
And this is the keyframe. This is in iOS, but it's all MAUI.
Mm-hmm.
So you can do stuff like reverse, play, and it just kind of does this. I think it's pretty, and it's fast because it's using the native stuff.
Yeah.
And then here's the motion icons. Again, this is on iOS. Pretty much the same. There is obviously no hover event, but like everything else works one-to-one. Pulse.
Does that all work on all the platforms too?
Yeah.
I don't know if you said that.
Yep.
Even Linux.
Even Linux.
Wow.
Let me see. Let's go to this guy, and we'll go down. Too many damn controls. Who did this? There it is. See, there it is doing its thing again. No hover on this, but everything else.
Right.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it looks great.
And then here are all the controls here. Same thing, right? Because it's just keyframes. It's the same thing that's been there forever. Oh, look at that. Wicked. So, John, you're going to use this in all your apps, right? Because there's no RX. This one you liked.
I do like it. I did. The thing I struggled to find now is like when, I don't know, like it's not.
When would you use it?
Yeah, like when do I put where do I start using? Because you don't want to overdo it either, right?
Thanks for asking, because that's like, bing bang.
Yeah,
so
that's
here's
not a bad one, yeah.
Right, just some simple ones. Right, that do. Oh, this is more or less a button, but it's got the motion icons in it, right? Native spinner. See, this is all keyframe driven. So
yeah, that one I like the idea of you've clicked a button. There's some action that takes maybe longer than a short time, and it's kind of indeterminate.
Right, so all that stuff is it just works, because I needed a button with icons anyways. Again, another common scenario that we all have, and I just was like, hey, can we put the motion icons in that? Yes, we can. Yes, we can. So this one I loved. It was like I had to do it. This was like a last second thing, just because I saw it and I was like, again, I'm not UI good. Jeez, I'm UI stupid. Apparently, talking today too. So I saw it and I was like, I need to have that, like a kid in a candy store, right?
Yeah.
So I knew I had keyframes. I had this. Go and put it in.
So you have all these controls. What's the right path for people to like obviously go install them and use them? Mm-hmm. And you have LLMs text for everything still, like that's all getting generated.
Yes.
Well, no, because like the thing that I've started doing in my projects is one, I'll be like, yeah, I want to use like DocumentDB. So like go look at the LLM's text from your site, go figure out how to use DocumentDB. Like just this, it's non-negotiable. That's what we're using.
Yes.
So what I would kind of, and I almost wonder, and maybe you have one already. Like I almost wonder. I mean, I guess LLM's text would do it, but like, do you maybe make a skill as well that's like to help figure out what are the parts of your app that there's a shiny control that does it for you, and you can strip more out of your app, more of your own code out, and replace stuff in. Like that's almost what I need for some of my stuff now.
So obviously everything that I have, there is skills being built. Like the documentation shows where they all are. I do have, this was John. He's like, why don't you have an LLMS text on your docs? There is one now. It's built. So if you point if AI says, hey, you want to use Shiny, if you point it at shinylib.net, it'll go, oh yeah, okay, great. I can work with all this and I know how to find the docs and it's all there. So it goes searching and finds what it needs. And like I said, there is, if you go into Foundation and we go into AI skills, there is all of the 8 million skills involved with the libraries that you can go install. Apparently skills are becoming bad or frowned upon because you get too many and your context gets too big.
I mean, that the kind of what's the thing called at the top, the like where it has the description and stuff. Like, yeah, it's kind of, it can be the same problem as tools, right? Where you get too many and then it's like not sure what to use. I mean, I still find I like to have them, and what I often do is basically say like, I might know exactly the skill I want you to use, and so go use it, and then it's less of a problem. And I think that's like the difference between skills and tools in a sense anyway, because tools are a little bit more like, yeah, no, I need you to implicitly know when to use them, whereas skills, I'm often going to be like, I know there's a skill. I know I want to use like the, impeccable design skill. I know I want to use
impeccable design. Is that one you've got? Is it? Oh yeah, you did send me that.
Yeah. No, that one's a good one. I like that one a lot. So I'll tell it to use it because I know I want it. But that's a little bit different because you're more starting out with, I think, an idea, or you could even say like, update my Claude.md, to say always when you're doing anything like this, like always use this skill, this like these sets of skills, right? I've done that before too, and that seems to help.
Just depends on your context window because it can get big really quick. It's usually pretty smart at grabbing what skills it needs. Sometimes AI, you have to be like, dude, go this way.
Yeah.
But the skills are there. They're built with everything that I do. So if you need them, pull them, or use the docs because they're here. I want to show one last thing because this one was like a last minute. Yeah, this one I was excited about. This one I have a feeling I'm going to have to iterate on it more, but it is a walkthrough. And I think I've seen, I'm not sure if there is any controls for MAUI, but I've seen this in the web world for a while.
Yeah.
Where you're like, hey, usually I find these annoying, but if you've got to show users that don't know how to use it.
Yeah.
This pops up, puts like a nice black screen on the background or a overlay, and then it'll start going through and highlighting controls.
Yeah. It's even got little animations.
Oh, it does. It's pretty rich, the API. This one auto advances in 2.5 seconds.
I like it.
This is a custom control, so there's no background. I should probably make it so that you can put a background, or that you can put a background. It's just not there at the moment. You can skip all of this and it'll remember. So if you've got it set to auto start and I come back to this page, it won't run it again. And then that's it. And you can
and this works on MAUI too.
Yes, it does. Let's pull up.
Are you using the kind of not super well known feature of MAUI, which is there's like a drawing layer that you can put stuff on top?
No, this is using Shiny's Shiny stuff to get on top. So it's going to do, like, Shiny's got an overlay control. So it's getting involved here and doing some of the stuff, like with the tooltip here. It's using its stuff. Now it is highlighting the controls, which is more or less MAUI, but so this one should advance after 2.5 seconds. Again, same thing. The sample, I need to say, put a background in, for God's sakes. It looks like crap there, but
yeah,
it's a sample. But like, yeah.
Well, I like this. I maybe even want to see if I can encourage you to iterate on it for my own personal gain. So in pool math, like, this has been, so the app is like generally we've got users coming from the site that already kind of know about what it's about. But over the years, that's been shifting a little bit the other way, where we get more organic users now. And then you get into the app and you're just kind of like thrown into it, right? And it's like, well, what do I do? And I've done a little bit where I make, like, if you don't have like your pool information set up, like there's a bit of a wizard that starts out with that now. And that guides you like to make some of the choices and stuff. But even once you get past that, all I have right now is like, oh, the next thing that you need to go do is go like start logging tests and, you know, whatever, just in as a description, right?
Yep.
So what would be cool is, and I've always wanted to do this, I've just never found a great library to do it. And again, kind of like what I was ranting about with the camera stuff before, it's just been like hours in the day, like to try and build this and get it working well and get it doing what I need to do, and doing that instead of doing other features, like it's just never been enough of a priority. But I've wanted to put this in the app for a while, so I'll have to check this out. The only thing that I would like to see yet, and we should chat,
okay?
Because I mentioned that drawing layer, right? I don't know how you're doing the drawing right now exactly.
Yep.
But that would give you on top of the whole everything, the whole window essentially. Ooh. So like, you know, in your demo, and maybe you have a way to do this already, I don't know, but like your demo, the top bar was still just the native top bar, right?
By top bar, you mean
like the navigation? Bar? Yeah.
Yeah, that's native.
Yeah. So like I have stuff maybe in there, like when the last step is triggered, I want to float that thing up to focus on the toolbar button that says like, now click this done button so that it saves.
Which this does do, right?
Okay,
this
you can float. You can get it to sit on top of that part too.
Right. So there's let's see if I can put it back in here. Let me restart it. Oh, that's not what we want. We want this guy. So you're talking about,
because I've almost done the same approach in the past where I would just like basically have like my page content be like a grid, and then I would stick my own control like over top of everything. And that's what this, you know, what I could maybe achieve similarly here, except for the.
Is this kind of what you're talking about though?
No. I mean like at the end. So I want that like black translucent background to cover the whole window, even the nav bar at the top.
Oh, even the nav bar. Okay.
Yeah. Because I want that circle at the end that you have there. I want that circle pretend it would go up on top of that hamburger menu.
Okay. Yeah.
I want it to say like, now click here. Which is difficult because it's a native, like you're inside of a page content in MAUI here, which is shoved inside of the native control. So you don't really have like what your control surfaces can't go over that by default.
Correct. So that's something. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point for something.
We should have our agents talk.
We will. We will.
But this looks great. I love the even the look of like how it focuses and outlines and then just animates between them. Like I don't think I've seen one quite the same. Usually they're kind of ugly in the sense that you click next and it's like there's no transition. It's just like a hard, like the next, you know, button is focused on and whatever. And
yeah, and like I said, I didn't invent this by any means.
Sure, fine,
what I did want is I was like, because there's even a case where, you know, some people don't want the background, like they don't want the overlay. They just want the I call them comic boxes. So before you saw kind of going into pop-ups and highlighting the control, I do have it so you can just do dialogue.
Sure. Yeah.
And then there is a tail there. I'm in dark mode, so you don't really see it, but same thing. And now it's in comics, so it's a little bit easier to read in this mode. And if I skip it, it's just, you know, it doesn't change the user's view of the world. Yeah. So I wanted both because I've heard both complaints, or both requirements.
Yeah. I mean,
and man, it's just
customization is awesome if you can do it right, and you can there. So
right.
I like the focus for my app, but I can see other use cases where that's maybe too distracting or doesn't look quite right. But I want to make sure, because I have my user base tends to be on the older side, so I want to like really steer. And that's why I say I want like everything. I want, because I have like a checkbox to save on the toolbar in some cases, and so I want them to focus on that, because you wouldn't believe the number of issues we get where they're like, I entered my stuff and it didn't save. It's like, you click the X, not the check. Like, what did you expect?
Right. Well, and this was one of the things too, as I went through it, is I wanted to make it so sometimes you could force, like you had to press the button in order to advance it.
Oh,
so
yeah,
there's durations. There's click the damn button. If you want to go next, click the damn button.
Oh, like you have to click the actual MAUI, like the button it's focused on. Okay, I like that. Yep.
If you want, you don't have to.
Some I've seen that before where it's like, now practice clicking it, right? So it's like you're actually doing it.
Yep. I was going to do it for the entry, but it turns out that, so like type in your name, right? And force it. There's like, you can't get too big. Otherwise,
when
it's hard
do you
to
know when it's done? Like, unless you have another button and
Right. So there's a whole bunch of stuff. There's room to grow in this library, but I think I've got it pretty good for what it is. And like I said, this was working in Blazor. The one thing I could have done is done this through attached properties, which I actually hated that idea. And the reason is because if you had a big screen, and you maybe didn't want it going in the order, because you'd have to put an ordering property.
Yep.
And then you have to, like, it was hard to find. So I decided, no, this will just be a control that lives at the top of the screen. It doesn't really display anything. It's just kind of sitting there.
Yeah.
And then you just, you say, you put a reference to the
target.
control.
No, I was going to say, like, again, it's kind of like I said with the camera view stuff. It's almost sad in a way that we don't, like, the code isn't as much the part of the art anymore, because like this does look elegant. I would, if I was writing the code without AI to do this, like that would feel satisfying to be like, hey, this walkthrough step is targeting this control.
Right.
And it's all referenced that way.
It's just beautiful. This I was pretty happy with. I've had it planned for a few weeks. I had the API that I kind of wanted more or less for a few weeks, and it took AI about 30 minutes to dev what I wanted. It didn't have any suggestions. It was like, this is cool, let's go. And this is where we are. So this was basically the last control for this release, and that's why this is now 1.0. Was this guy was like the icing on the cake. I was like, I need to release this thing now. So it is there. Go check it out. Go complain.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, the other thing that's obviously and I'm gonna ask you because I know that you're secure in your AI code Elenity. Like, people are gonna hit stuff, right? I'm gonna complain to you, but you'll maybe fix it slower for me than others, but you'll still do it. No, I'm just joking. I know you'll fix it right away for me.
Yeah, he usually, because John's relentless. When he starts bugging you, he's like, "This is broken."
No. But I say that because I am in the position of privilege where if I say, like, "Hey, can you fix this for me?" You'll do it as a friend, whereas like some other person on the internet might be like, "Hey, I really want it, to do this or whatever," and that might not be as appealing to do immediately. But like, this is such a big set of stuff. Like, you have to start. You already have to have already thought a little bit about like what's the plan to like keep iterating as people, bring stuff in. Like, you're going to get a volume, I think, of requests and stuff. And I know, like, open source is always a slog to deal with that anyway. I mean, AI makes it better because now at least you can be like, okay, fine, go fix this, for me, AI.
Right.
But yeah, I'm just like, in general, like what are your thoughts around that? Because like, I know you want to keep growing this.
So I think the only thing I've ever had a problem with in open source is people just being nasty.
Yeah.
I like the ones that come with, like, even when you're being picky about stuff, I love it because it's good feedback, right? You're not complaining. You're like, I see that double. Well, that's all right. I have
no, but it's like, at least it's pointing at something. It's not like, oh, I can't get it to work, and I'm not going to give you any information about what I'm actually seeing.
Exactly, right? So you're getting good. By the way, I went here for John to see if he see.
Oh, it's still that, isn't it?
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Hard to tell to my credit.
It's not there. It's not there.
It's not there. Yeah, you're right. I made my screen bigger, and I can tell.
Icons line up. This was the one that John was.
It hurt my soul when I saw the icons that not aligned, and like I just
he was on me. Like, man, I sent this to you, and I was like, I'm putting app layouts in for Blazor, and within like 10 seconds, John's like, look at, there's two borders here, and I was like, are you serious?
So people like I've had on multiple occasions people ask me, and I'm not just making this up, I promise. Okay. They're like, well, how do you get like the UI of the thing that you're showing me or whatever to like look that nice? Like I try AI and it kind of doesn't do it. It's like I spend a lot of like that's where I spend details. Most of my time prompting is in those very small details where I'll be like, like this thing is like a pixel shifted to the wrong way. I'll put screenshots in. Like one of the tools I use the most is like a screenshot snipping tool where I can just grab the part, draw a red arrow, and I'll paste that into AI and be like, look at this thing here. Like you need to fix this. It's not right. So like that is my honest answer is it. And that means it takes time, right? Like you have to, see the things, and then you have to actually spend the time like with AI, just iterating. Even if it's not coding, you're still spending time.
Yep. Yeah. It's all about the details after, if you're going to do AI coding, then it's the details you got to focus on, because it will miss. If you didn't explicitly go after it, I would have missed that 2 pixel border that John was
sure, but like,
and that's all right.
If it doesn't bug you in the case you're using it, fine. But at least now, like it's probably easy enough to collect issues and then just kind of set it loose on them and say like, okay, let's fix that.
And what it turned out being was the internal border for this control, when it was collapsed, it doubled down, right?
Right.
It didn't hide the full element. So it was easy to fix. John noticed it. That's great. It's when you get the positive feedback and you don't get people where it's like, this is breaking my app. The control is broken. What's broken? What's the exception? Like, don't make me look into a crystal ball. To
like reproduce it a little bit, even, right? And on the other hand, for those like people submitting issues, like AI is now also a tool to help enable doing a good job of that, right? Right.
I mean,
like what you did, like we had issues with Sherpa crashing, right? And you're like, okay, it's doing it on my machine, so I'm gonna set whatever AI you use to go figure this out. So like, got the one screenshot, which I'm not even berating that. Like I get it. It crashed. It's maybe a harder one to do, but also you can go, if you have the tokens, I also want to kind of acknowledge
if you
that
have the tokens,
maybe people don't have the same access to tokens, especially in other countries and stuff. Costs are different. I get that. But if you have the ability to like doing exactly this here, that gets such a better result for me to then go, I mean, you ended up doing it anyway, the fix, but to go put AI on the task and be like, oh, here's a bunch of information like this I can dig into and go figure out.
Well, and the cool thing here is that I have Claude integrated with GitHub, and I didn't write this comment, even though it made it sound like I wrote this comment. I was like, okay, here's the installed executable running 12 that is working. Here's the new one I've downloaded that's crashing. Run it yourself, read the logs, pull out the error, and ship it to GitHub. And it took a whole, and it was pretty confident, right? It was pretty, first Copilot took a guess at it, but it couldn't really run it. So I ran Claude on my machine, and it was like, well, no, that's not quite enough. Here's what you actually have it to do. And by the way, I've tested it. And then it basically made a different script, sent a new PR, and again, sent the issue. What was funny is this person who filed this bug, he filed this while I was trying to fix the bug elsewhere. And then it was like, hey, there's already an issue open for that. Do you want to create a new issue or add a comment? And I was like, let's add a comment. Like if it did all that, and it was literally maybe 30 seconds of my time. I think we had more troubles testing just because of the way the script is set up. We had more trouble testing the notarized version of Mac OS than but it tested it on my machine. It actually fixed the bundle directly. And then I was like,
it. And then it's like, okay.
And then it was like, hey, while I'm here, I'll fix your installed copy too, so that you can run that. Just in case, basically it blamed Redth. If Red's slow to respond to this, even though I'm a maintainer on the repo, I've already fixed your copy. So if he's sleeping, don't worry about it. So it's awesome. AI is gold. Use it properly. Don't hate it. Yes, it can do. Yes, it can and will do slop. But we almost become a little bit of QA. But architects have always had to do this anyways. Validate the API surfaces, validate the end result, and then put the Legos together. So
and at this point, like, there's no putting stuff back into the box. Like, we are where we are. I don't really, I mean, if you hate the fact that somebody could release a thing that's completely AI built that they didn't even look at the code of, I mean, okay, you can hate it, but like, this is where the world's moving more and more to. And the more that I see my agents making code changes, building new code, and being like, yeah, that code's fine, the more I kind of just see, yeah, that's like, you just accept it at some point.
The cool part is that I don't feel replaced. I feel upgraded, changed.
Yeah.
Like, you still are an engineer. It's not like you're not typing in the details. And to say you're not typing in the details, there is still times. Now, Jon doesn't do it as much, I don't think. But there are still times where I go in and look at the API. But when I'm building an API surface, I usually go in and I create the interface. And I was like, if I call in, like, I will actually take code that I have and try and write it against the interface and stuff that I want to do. And then I'll be like, okay, this fits what I need. Let's have AI validate it, see if there's any gaps, and have it take a go at it. And then I will verify at the end. But so there is still code, just I'm not doing the details.
Yeah. And that's I think a key difference. Like, it's one thing if you are building the thing that is the library people will consume and other AI and apps will consume more broadly. Like, I do think you kind of have that a little bit more on your plate to do. Whereas if I'm just building my, remote center replacement for my Logitech Harmony replacement,
right,
I don't really care what the shape of the API is as much. I might care a bit, I guess, about, I have like API endpoints to expose from the app itself. Yep, I care more about that. But in internal details to the app itself, me.
See, I still care about the code because, we've had a lot of AI outages. Like, Claude has been going down again, or Claude has been slow. Like, there are times where sometimes, I will admit I'm lazy, like, move the file here or redo this namespace because I'm changing it. There are still cases where it's just like, I'm still going to do this because it's faster, right? Like, they're like, Claude was slow yesterday for doing some basic things. It was taking like 10, 15, 20 minutes, whereas before it used to take 10 seconds. So we may hit a lull where it's either too expensive or, there's not enough compute power for a little while. That's why I want the Legos, because if I need to build, at least I've got all this stuff that I can continue building and not have to worry about all the other crap, right? Use the Legos. Use the Legos, use the controls, be a polite citizen, come and say, hey, can we have this? Or I noticed this bug and I will fix it. If you give me a good quality bug or an AI post, it will get fixed. I will be happy to. If you're a dick about it, then chances are I might just block you, because that's what I do. People come in heated about these things. Yeah, blocked. Problem solved. Oh, and Jon has gone. I think his dog was barking about something. So, on that note, I think we will call it a week. And I am on vacation next week, and Jon might be on vacation after that. So we might see you in a couple weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, anyways. Oh, he's back, but his sound doesn't work, so he's talking.
Yeah, there we go. One time that they don't just leave the package at the door.
Of course. I was just wrapping up anyways. So I am away next week. Ooh. Jon is away the week after, I believe.
Yeah, for a while. So you're either going to have to go solo on a few of them, or take a hiatus. We'll have to see.
Nah, we'll get some guests on.
There you go.
David, I'll be coming to bug you. You can come on. And nothing broke today, by the way, other than my keyboard. And Mr. Orton now entered the chat. It seemed my keyboard stopped working. I had to plug it in, and now it is working again. But other than that, he was not able to crash any of the apps today. Yay.
Well,
Double party.
That's a win.
That's a win. All right, everybody.
Cool stuff.
Always a blast.
See you next
Catch you
time.
in a couple weeks. Ciao for now.